Hello everyone, I'm Victoria. I'm an MT here at the TC, and today I'm joined by Javier, who's also an MT. And today is kind of just a podcast to learn about our educational journeys and how, everyone's educational journey differs, and that's okay, right? So kind of just hopping in, can you go ahead, tell me about yourself, your major, your class, and kind of what do you want to do career-wise?
So I'm a senior at Tech. I'm studying computer engineering. I'm going to graduate after this semester. And honestly, when it comes to job-wise, I don't have any one company that I want to work for or anything like that. Like most people, I don't have like everything figured out. I do know I want to go to grad school, looking into maybe going somewhere closer to Houston, Dallas, A&M, UH, something like that. But if I had to pick for career-wise, I really enjoy stuff like machine learning, image processing, robotics, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So what made you want to get into computer engineering? Like you're sitting in, or computer science?
Engineering.
It could be, okay, I was right. Yeah, sorry. Like I know some of us, we have to decide in high school, going into college, what do you want to go into college for? So like what kind of went into that decision of like, computer engineering, that's what I want to do?
Yeah, honestly, I didn't know. I just thought, engineers make money and computers are hot now, so
like technology is getting really important. Yeah. No, I'm literally with you. I was like senior year applying to schools and I'm like, what do I want to do? And so I'm a marketing major with a minor in data analysis, and so I kind of just chose, I was like, marketing, that's what we're going to go with, and that's kind of what I went with, and now we're in too deep.
Yeah, right. You can't graduating next semester, you can't back out now.
So, yeah, literally. So with computer engineering, you're saying that you're wanting to go into a grad program. What are you wanting to do with the grad program? More specialized or kind of just a continuation?
Yeah, honestly, I think either is good. If I had to specialize in something, it would be, like I said earlier, something like machine learning. I said image processing earlier as well. I just got into that this semester because I'm taking an intro class in it, and I think it's super interesting. But even if it's not something like something I can specialize in, just continue learning, that would be fine as well.
Yeah, I think there's always more to learn. I kind of have a saying of like, you learn something new every day. Yeah. I kid you not, like I'll be tutoring sometimes and I'm like, wow, I took this class like 3 semesters ago and this is just now making sense. Like, It's so crazy to think about sometimes. But no, I think that's really interesting. And do you have like some grad programs you're like kind of looking into around Houston, or kind of just like it's on the brain right now, but we're gonna wait a little lot longer?
I was looking. The only ones I've really had a chance to look at have been the ones offered at UH, which they seem interesting. They're just general masters in computer engineering and electrical engineering. So it would be just more of a continuing learning what I've been learning already.
Yeah, I gotcha. So kind of moving forward, what made you decide to come to Texas Tech, and what were your other colleges that you were considering?
I just wanted to move out.
Literally with you.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
I applied to a bunch of different schools, and then I got accepted into a few. Some of them, like I got accepted into UH, TSU, I think A&M, and then a few others.
Yeah.
But honestly, the main reason I just really wanted to move out, and I said, if it's an 8.5-hour drive from home, there's no way I can make that every day, right? So I have to get my own place. But no, I actually found out about Tech through this college fair that my high school held.
Okay, yeah.
And I talked to a bunch of different schools, and I was like, yeah, Tech looks cool. And once I got accepted into it, I did more in-depth research about their ECE program and what courses they offer, what it's like. And I heard a lot that it's just a really good program.
Yeah.
And now coming here, I experienced that it is a really good program.
Yeah.
We have a lot of great professors that teach. Their teaching style is incredible. And the courses that they teach are really interesting.
Yeah.
Even the basic classes, I learned a lot from those. and also there's a lot of opportunities, and not just in electrical and computer engineering, but in just the entire engineering college, opportunities to develop your professional career and build bridges, connections, stuff like that.
Yeah, definitely. Going off the joke you started with, I literally resonate so much because I'm from the Houston area too, a little bit further near the coast. And like I came to Texas Tech at the preview, like my senior year, like I was behind the game. Cause some people were already like applying to college in July, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm behind. Like this is scary. You're not behind. If you're applying later, you're cool. Like it's okay. But I visited up here. It's like a 10-hour drive for me almost. Like if you make stops, 10 hours. Like
yeah, exactly.
And I was like, yeah, like my dad was telling me, I love my dad to death, but he's like, yeah, you could go to U of H and stay at home. I'm like, Dad, U of H is like an hour and a half away from us, and I don't want to be making that trip every day.
Exactly.
And so at the end of the day, I was like, I love you, Dad, but I'm ready to get out of the house too. Like I'm ready, and I think I might have gone too far. I also really was considering like UT, which is also another great school, but there's a lot of things to take in consideration, like choosing a school and like, I don't know, what were some things you took into consideration, like the program itself and like the professors were really great. I was like the distance, no kidding. But like the job placement afterward for like after graduation, that was really big for like the Rawls College. They have like a 90% placement rate, and I was like, that's really good. It seems like you'll have a really good business college. Like that's where I'm gonna go, and that's where I went.
Yeah, I know. Tech, I forget the exact number, but for engineering, it's something similar to that. It's really good hiring rate. Yeah. But that's something that I actually didn't even take into consideration until after I came to Tech.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, I didn't think about that. The only thing I looked up job-wise is how people who graduate with my degree, computer engineering, do. Not specifically from Tech, but just in general across the nation, you know?
Yeah.
And it just didn't occur to me to look that stat up about Tech. But to answer your question, some things that I looked into when applying to Tech were, firstly, and really most importantly, how is the department that I'm going into? And like I said earlier, I mean, it's fantastic. Another thing was pricing, because I did end up going to a community college for a little while beforehand, because I was worried, I wanted to save up money and I wanted to try to graduate debt free if possible. So that's something that I looked into, pricing as well as scholarships that were available for that school. Really were the main, that one along with how the department is, were the main two things I was looking into.
Yeah, no, that's definitely like good things to take in consideration. And at the end of the day, we kind of have to look at like some people, they have to take into consideration the costs as well as, am I going to be able to survive there? Some people, I know my first semester, my roommate on campus, she came to Tech and she was only here for one semester before transferring to Baylor. So like taking into consideration, can you live that far from home? Yeah. Is that a good college? Like there's things on the internet. I honestly didn't even think to look at the job placement rate. It was just right there in the pamphlet that they gave us. I was like, oh, that's interesting. My mom's right there next to me like, hey, look at this placement rate. I was like, all right, Mom. All right.
It worked out, man.
It worked out, and now we're graduating.
Yeah, right.
It's crazy.
Excited.
Excited, nervous. Like, I was saying in another podcast with Marco, I was like, I'm graduating within 2.5 years. Like, I've been here for 5 semesters. 5 semesters, and I'm graduating in December.
Yeah, graduating early though.
Yeah, it's really nerve-wracking, right? Like, I mean, we're talking about our educational journeys. Like, how long have you been here?
At Tech alone, I've been here since 2018.
Yeah.
I believe fall 2018, and then I went to community college for 2 years.
Yeah.
So I'm like on the opposite boat from you. You're graduating early, I'm graduating way too late.
I don't think there's a time frame. Like, I don't want to put
it's not a race, yeah.
It's like, as long as you get it done, but I think it's so interesting to look at because you've kind of had this more experience of things being in person, and I've had this experience of, like, COVID. Like, my college experience has been COVID. Like, for reference, I came here in fall of 2019. Spring 2020 was the start of COVID semester, the start of things going online. Fall 2020, everything for the business college, it was online. Spring 2020, kind of half. Now we're in fall 2021, everything's in person. And I'm like, what am I doing, right? And so like our educational journeys have kind of differed in that sense that you've got to have a chance to have a more normal college experience, or normal to some extent, right? College experience. And so how do you think, being through that time frame of in-person classes, things being considered normal, to COVID, to trying to get back to normal now, how has that kind of shaped your journey?
For me specifically, I know like everybody who graduated high school between like 2016 and 2018ish, they've had a similar experience to what you and I have had.
Yeah.
Where you leave high school and then you kind of have this idea of what college should be.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, I get to experience that idea that I had. I got to live it for a couple of years. Even if a couple of those were in community college, I still got to like leave the college life.
Yeah.
And then it just kind of stops abruptly and
Mm-hmm.
everything changes. And it's, I've always been I always consider myself somebody who's good with change.
Yes.
And adapting to new circumstances. So I was fortunate enough that it didn't affect me very much.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, everything went online, and then the main thing I had to worry about was kind of rescheduling everything. How my classes were going to fit with each other, how I was going to fit my personal life in with my classes and my various jobs that I had throughout college, and as well as staying safe from the pandemic.
Yeah, I think that was definitely a challenge, especially that first semester of like, we were like about to leave for spring break, and they're like, don't come back, and it's just like, whoa, like everything's changing. Like I was sitting there, I'm like, you talked about this point of we have this idea of what the college experience should be.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there and I'm like, this is not the college experience I was imagining.
So, yeah, I mean, when everything stopped, it was a fall semester, and the first half of that semester, everything was in person and normal and blah, blah, blah. And then COVID hit, and I don't know where the entire school shut down and everything went online.
Mm-hmm.
I was taking this one class that it's called the project lab class, where they give you a whole semester to work on a project, and I was really excited about that class. I was working on the project with my group and meeting up with them, and I don't know, where it's like, all right, you need to figure out a way to do this remotely, but also have the project done, but also don't meet up with your group, but also do meet up with your group.
Yeah.
Right? So it was hectic like that. And during that same semester, I was doing this volunteering work that I was really excited about, where I went to an elementary school. I think it was South Plains, or I forget exactly what it was, but I was going to this elementary school here in Lubbock, and I was helping out with the robotics program. And that was super fun. I mean, getting to see the kids get excited about technology, building stuff. Some of them, and it was really cool because some of them would really enjoy the hardware side of it and actually building like the Lego robots, and the other ones would be like, yeah, that's not for me, I love coding. And they would actually have like little computers that the school would give them, and they would write pieces of code to make the robot work.
Oh my gosh, elementary kids?
Yeah.
Dang, I just learned code and I'm like, still like, what am I writing?
Right. No, I'm saying those kids are amazing.
Yeah.
They were all super excited, and they loved working together, and getting to see them start from literally a pile of Lego blocks and an empty, script, to actually building a thing that moves and detects colors and picks things up based on color was dope. And at the end of the semester, at the end of the semester, they were going to have a competition, getting to see who gets through the circuit faster.
Yeah.
But then that just shut down halfway through.
Dang. Do you know if they've kind of reamped that program back up now that things are getting somewhat back to normal?
As far as I'm aware, I haven't heard from the program director. I believe if they still, I gave the information to a friend that wanted to apply for that same volunteering position, and they haven't told me anything back about it, so I assume they haven't restarted it.
Well, hopefully that's something that they restart back up, because like that sounds like an amazing experience for the kids, even for you as well.
Super excited,
that sounds amazing. I think it just goes to show that it's like we had this idea. or we were really excited about the semester we were in, and then just everything kind of went kaboom. Like nothing's normal anymore. And I think one thing you talked about was that, you know, we had to just go online, and like you were like, you had to meet with your group, but you weren't supposed to meet with your group because of COVID, and then like there's no clarity. And I think this point of clarity, especially with COVID, has become a big thing. Clarity and communication, like it's been heightened, I feel like, between professors and students, or there was a need for heightening, for improvement. Because like if you can't communicate, especially with online things, like there's a chance that you won't succeed. There's a chance that there's some information that's not being communicated, right? And that kind of throws off the whole thing. So kind of tell me about, like, what about communication do you think has it changed? Has it improved? Has it, you know, just stayed the same for you? Do you still have online classes this semester?
Yeah, no, I think it definitely changed. I think that's one positive thing that came out of COVID. Colleges were forced, or universities were forced to make a change, and that kind of opened their mind or opened their eyes to, oh, this is an area in which we've been kind of lacking, you know. I know now a lot of professors, even though things are starting to go back to normal, a lot of professors still offer online versions of the course, even though their courses aren't online. They still record lectures, and they put up the recordings on Blackboard. They still post like presentation PowerPoint slides to Blackboard, which I know, at least for me, a lot of professors didn't do that in the past. And now, even though it's not really mandatory anymore, they still do it because they've seen, students really benefit from this. Students, you know, whether it's a student that needs to look at something twice to learn it, or maybe they were just having an off day or whatever, it's nothing but beneficial to give them access to the lectures even after the lecture is over. And that's one, I think, the biggest thing that has changed. Another thing is a lot of professors now are holding office hours online. Which is a lot nicer because sometimes you just can't meet with them whenever they are in their offices. As well as, what was the other thing? As well as just providing more, resources? Whether it be like YouTube videos or whatever website they find, and they put them up on Blackboard. That's just something that you didn't really see before.
I definitely agree there that the positive things to come out of COVID has helped education so much, I feel like, in college. Because, you know, you move from high school where things are kind of force-fed to you. You're given everything that you need, where you come to college and you have to know how to take good notes in order to do well on exams, or do the homework well, or something along those lines. And you kind of have to find these resources on your own, or find ways to make sure things get done, where high school was like, here's everything you need, go ahead and just finish it. And so I when I was first in college, my first semester, which was normal, it was a little bit harder to adjust from everything was given to me in high school that I needed to succeed, where college is like, you're given the tools to succeed, you're given the ability to succeed, but not...
It's up to you to go the rest of the way.
Exactly. And I think it was a little bit harder that first semester. Even though everything COVID-wise was really hard those semesters, now that we're moving back to something normal, there is that sense of everything's a little bit more clear. Everything runs a little bit more smoothly. Everything's not, I wouldn't say easier, but you have additional tools, I guess, to help you succeed. And I think that's been really important. And so, one, graduating early, but two, honestly, just graduating. Like, it's been a challenge, but kind of moving forward onto kind of our last question. What do you think were some key skills that got you to where you are today, or even helped you land the position here at the TC?
I think number one is adaptability, which goes so well with everything that has been going on with COVID. I mean, just being able to adjust to a new environment, because, you know, a lot of people, they go into, even if, you know, you have a normal college experience, you're most likely moving out, going on to this new place, first time living on your own, that kind of thing. And a lot of people, you know, first week, first month, whatever, first year, they freak out, they don't know what to do. they're on their own, right?
Yeah.
Being able to just adjust to that new environment and survive on your own is something that is super important, and it, I think, plays really well with just college, because you have so many different professors and classes that you have to take. Being able to adapt to all those different classes that you're going to have to take is a really important thing.
Yeah.
I think that's number one for me. If I had to pick another one, I would say, I guess it kind of goes hand in hand with being able to adapt, is resourcefulness. Is being able to recognize what tools you can use and use them to their fullest, basically.
Yeah. Going off adaptability, because I really do think that is super important. You mentioned an example of kind of students moving to college, and earlier we made a joke about like wanting to move away. But going off of that, something I don't necessarily talk about as often is that first semester I did move away. I actually struggled a lot, and that did play a role into my education. It's because I was having these feelings of, you know, loneliness, because I moved to a whole new city where I didn't know anybody, and I wasn't the most outgoing person then. I mean, y'all should see me now. I'll say anything. But like then I was very shy, I was very timid, I was very introverted, and so I really struggled my first semester being away from my family and friends 9-10 hours away, and coming to the city where I knew no one, and I wasn't the most outgoing, and it was really like, it was hard to make friends. And I think that just goes to show like the adaptability was needed, like the change to become more outgoing, to put yourself out there, find organizations to join was really important, because at the end of the day, once I made friends, you know, I felt so much better here. I felt more welcomed, more secure. My education was going better, like, because I wasn't just sad and lonely, and kind of with that sad and loneliness came procrastination, right? And like, I don't want to do anything, I just want to wallow.
So yeah, it was just loneliness, and you know, all my friends had left, but then I came back, or I came to tech, and I still kind of had the same lack of motivation the first semester, but I decided, you know what, I'm gonna go see what organizations I can join. I'm gonna see who from my classes I can talk to that share the same interests as me, and everything just started kind of going up from there.
That's really good. I think, yeah, I mean, because this is all about educational journeys and being able to see, you know, of course COVID has played a role, but also seeing that there's something behind the scenes stuff that has really affected the way we just are motivated or want to do things, or, you know, manage to do things in our daily lives. So I think that's a really important aspect for people to see, because it's also not something that's talked about a lot around campuses, is that, you know, we just pretend everything's going fine. Like, everybody just is like, yeah, we're good. But really there's this importance of, even Marco and I were talking about, like, in our podcast, that there needs to be this importance of communication between friends, or between peers to academic students to academic counselors, like going to someone if you feel like you need to talk, because at the end of the day, you know, college isn't easy, especially having to adapt, again, as we were talking about, adapt from, if you've moved somewhere, even just moving an hour from your family can be difficult. Or maybe you're struggling in a class, or maybe you're struggling with some friends and you're going through a rough patch with friends, relationships, that there's people there that want to talk about it to you, and we really need to, I think, emphasize that more here at college, that, you know, there's like these behind the scene things that could be affecting your education, and if you feel like that's the case, that we need to talk to people more, and be able to feel like, you know, everybody here, we're all struggling, we're all learning, and if you feel like something's affecting your life, talk about it.
Yeah, I know there's the like the stereotype that, you know, college students broke, tired, never have any time, they're always studying, right? And yeah, it's funny to joke about it, and it's okay to joke about that, but sometimes it just gets too much to handle, and you do need to talk to somebody. It's
really serious, even though we're joking about it. Is like, there's that seriousness behind it. Like, I'm secretly telling you I want to talk about this. Like, please ask me, because there's also this kind of like, you don't want to burden someone with your thoughts sometimes, of like, oh no, like, that's just the college experience. But it's like, yeah, that's the college experience, but can we talk about it?
Yeah, exactly.
Why is that the college experience, of like feeling like you can't talk about things being hard and stuff like that? And so I think there's definitely has been a push towards mental health at Texas Tech recently with like COVID stuff, but I'm looking forward to kind of seeing the more development on that side of people being able to feel like they can outwardly communicate with someone they know if they're going through a hardship.
Yeah, I agree with that. I look forward to seeing what kind of resources become available to students to deal with that kind of stuff.
Definitely, definitely. Well, that ends our podcast for today. Thank you, Javier, for coming to talk with me about all things education. Any like last notes or advice that you want to give to our listeners?
Yeah, man. I mean, you know, if you, just to kind of end on the same note that we were talking about, if you really are feeling overwhelmed, reach out to somebody. Everybody, at least here at Tech, everybody has an academic counselor. You can reach out to friends, family. People will be there for you.
Yeah, great note to end off of. I hope you all have a great day.